Hello, my name is Dana Massey and I am with RVs Northwest in Spokane Valley at Barker Road. And I am going to go over the top 10 troubleshooting questions that we get. We get a lot of phone calls from renters, and so these are some of the things that we get that we're going to try to help you out with. So the first thing that we get is, why won't the generator start or continue running? Does it run off the same fuel as the engine? So the answer to your question is yes, it runs off the same fuel as your engine, and it may not be starting because if your engine fuel is at 1/4 of a tank or lower, the generator will not start. So make sure your fuel tank is higher than 1/4 of a tank. The other reason it may not be starting is if your batteries are low. So you want to check your house batteries. The house batteries are the batteries that run the lights and the furnace and the different items within the living space, not the engine battery. So the way that you can combat this is, if your house batteries are dead, you can go ahead and start up the engine, and the engine will provide enough power to get your generator to start. So those would be a few key things. Now, the next question is, I've got my generator running, but I'm not getting any power off of the generator. What you want to do is check the outside compartment. On the Winnebago Mini Winnies, there is an outlet inside the electrical compartment. You want to make sure your 30 amp cord is plugged into that outlet, because that outlet is coming off of the generator. If you're not plugged into that outlet, you won't have any power to the motorhome. You can tell that you're getting power off of the generator because you'll have lights on the microwave. Question 2, we have lights, why won't our outlets work? And the reason to that is because you have to have a source of 110 power in order for the outlets to work. Your lights will run off of battery power. So the key differentiation is the furnace, the refrigerator, the lights. Those are all items that run off of battery and propane, but your outlets, your TV, your microwave, and your air conditioner have to have either a land source, which can be plugged into a campground, somebody's house, or power off the generator. Question 3, I am hooked up at a campground. How come I don't have water? This is because your pump is probably on. The campground has water pressure. The only reason for the pump is to provide you water pressure when you don't already have it. The pump pumps water out of the internal tank. When that internal tank is empty, the pump has nothing more to pump, so there won't be any water. So shut your pump off and you'll more than likely have water. 4th question, I can't get the slide out to work. Why? More than likely, it's because of the engine versus emergency brake combination. So in a Winnebago Mini Winnie, the emergency brake needs to be on and the engine needs to be running in order for the slide to operate. If you hit the button the first time and it doesn't work, it's because it's resetting. You need to hit it a second time. In the Thor Chateaus, you want to have the emergency brake on and the engine off for the slide out to work. So those are 99% of the time, it's somewhere in that combination is the reason the slide out won't work. Question 5, the fridge isn't staying cold and there's a check gas light flashing. Sometimes the refrigerator gets confused, so you want to just turn the fridge off and turn it back on again and see if it resets itself. If the light continues to flash, make sure the propane is open and call us and we can walk you through this one. But on the exterior of the motorhome, there is going to be a compartment that has no key lock on it. It only has twist locks. That's going to be your propane compartment, and make sure the propane is on. We refill it in between every rental and usually open it up, but just in case, check that. That can make a difference. The other thing that can make a difference is if you are plugged into an electrical source and your fridge isn't staying cold, more than likely somebody's keeping that refrigerator door open too long, looking for something to eat. You know, they can't make up their mind, they got to hold the door open. These refrigerators don't cool down quite as fast as your home refrigerator, so you don't want to leave the door open for long periods of time. Make sure to know what you want, open the door, and then close it again, and that'll help keep it a lot cooler. Question 6, I can't get any channels on the TV. Why can't I get any channels? Well, probably because you haven't found the channels. What you want to do is you want to get out your remote control and click menu on the remote. It'll pop up with a menu. arrow over to the right to channels. The first option or the second option that pops up, you click down to, it's going to say auto channel search. Click on auto channel search and it'll have you select whether you're selecting the antenna, cable, or satellite. If you're in the motorhome and you're not hooked up at a campground, you're going to be using the antenna. If you're at a campground where you're hooked up to a cable, then you'll be using cable. Select that option and it will do an auto channel search where it'll go through and find the channels for you. Once it's done with its channel search, it'll pop on the TV and you can hit exit to get out of it. Question 7. Why don't I have power when I'm hooked up at the campground? 99% of the time it's because the breakers have been shut off at the campsite. A lot of campgrounds do not leave their breakers on when nobody's using the electrical box. So when you plug in at the campground, make sure to turn the 30 amp breaker on. They often have different breakers for the different size outlets. So 30 amp, turn it on, and that should provide you the power. If not, there might be the breaker internally on the motorhome popped, and you'll have to turn that on. You can tell where the breaker box is inside the motorhome because it's going to be down low. It's usually going to be under the refrigerator, by the entry door, or under the dinette, and it's going to be a brown or a black box, and it's going to be approximately 1 foot wide by 6 to 8 inches tall, and it'll have a panel on the top that you can push in, and when you push in on it, it'll drop down the front and you can see your breakers and fuses, and just make sure all your breakers are on. Number 8. How do I use the power system in this? I don't understand the battery power versus the 110 power. The way that the motorhome is set up is everything will run off of battery or propane except for the microwave, air conditioner, TV, or anything plugged into a standard household outlet. Those items have to have the generator or an outside source of power. The 12-volt system, which is your battery system, will run your lights. It will spark ignite your refrigerator for propane. It will ignite your furnace for heat. It will ignite your hot water heater and run any of the other systems except for those 4 items. Do I have to run the generator for my water pump or my furnace to work? No, you do not. Your furnace, it uses a lot of battery power, but what it does is it ignites off the battery power, it blows with battery power, but it heats with propane. So you want to be careful of the amount of furnace time you use when you're dry camping, because it uses about 10 to 12 amps of battery power per hour, and a standard battery has about 84 amp hours available. So as you can see, it'll use it up pretty quickly, and that doesn't include everything else you're running. If you turn on that heater at 10 o'clock at night at 65 to 68 degrees, your batteries will be dead around 3 or 4 in the morning. So I suggest run your furnace for an hour before you go to bed, sleep with lots of blankets, and then turn it on for about an hour in the morning. That way you'll use minimal amounts of battery power and still have heat. Question 10. Do I have to light any pilot lights for the furnace, water heater, or refrigerator to run? There are no pilot lights other than the oven and the stove, actually not even the stove, that you need to light. The refrigerator is a self-igniting propane system. It sparks off of the battery. Now if your batteries are dead, your fridge won't run. Hot water heater and furnace are all the same. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that these questions have answered some of your troubleshooting problems. Please feel free to go to our website, or you can definitely give us a call so that we can help you out. We hope to help you further by having some more fun in an RV this summer.